Hello, Rangers. Welcome. I'm Joe. Here with me is my co-host Dan,
Hello and greetings.
and we're back. And we're going to be doing something a little odd. I mentioned, well, I haven't mentioned it yet. I should say in the community tab. I was going to. We're going to be refurbishing some of our live streams as videos, because why not? For the extra content. And we're going to hopefully start having more regular episodes and more character-centric stuff again. And I really want to do shot-for-shot analysis again. So anyways, on with the show. Game On, where, honestly, Ethan starting out in this episode is worse than Rocky ever was. Rocky became Rocky had addiction problems. Be it cooking, food, sports, games. Rocky did everything in excess. But he learned the value of self-discipline. In this regard, he got the same kind of character arc as Joey Wheeler from Yu-Gi-Oh! Starting off as someone who has addiction problems, but learning some self-discipline and self-restraint as the story progressed. Ethan, in this episode, wow! And I think I finally realized what Ethan's flaw is. It's kind of gluttony, but not in the food sense. It's gluttony for like games, for activities, and it's a serious problem. He has addiction issues, and addiction is part of the sin of gluttony. And like, everyone tells him, listen, can you take 5 minutes away from the game? He can't. And of course, you have that which lands him in trouble because Mesagog has the same idea Lord Zed had. So somebody's got addiction issues. Get him addicted to a game, and I'll divide and conquer. Connor, for his part, ends up ambushed, and so, rescue has to come along. Now, what's interesting in this episode is that, the game kind of sucks in Ethan, who lands in hot water, and, of course, gets himself a few stern lectures from Tommy and, Haley, and of course Tommy temporarily loses his mouth at one point, which, I know people probably think that's funny, but to me it's like, no.
He's right.
Yeah, and, the thing with Tommy is he's usually right in this franchise. And the trouble is with Ethan is that everybody has to clean up after him in this episode. As for Connor, he's really not a very good team player this episode. Because at one point in the fight against the Monster of the Week, you have him and Tommy basically say, all right, let's attack them together. Then Connor just backs off and lets Tommy do all the fighting and then goes, oh, wow, that was terrible. For all intents and purposes.
Yeah, and yet Connor's more reliable than Ethan.
I'm going to disagree. So, Dan thinks Connor's more reliable. I just view it as, okay, let's attack them together. All right, let me grab my smoothie. And then you have Tommy doing all the work and then getting fought off. So, I'm going to disagree.
Well, when Tommy's like, okay, guys, we're going to have a training
exercise. Okay, fair enough. At least Connor has learned from that problem he had with training from a few episodes ago. But I'm still going to come down hard on him.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah, so we have a slight disagreement here, not just for your entertainment, folks, but just generally. So let's rate this particular episode before we move on to the second episode of this video.
1?
1 out of 4?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, maybe. We can't have those.
Okay, 1.
All right, 1. For a minute, I thought you were going to say 3/4 star, but 1 it is. I'm going to say 1.1, actually, out of 4. I liked it a little bit more than you, I think.
Yeah, the episode was getting a bit too cliche.
Okay,
Video game episode cliche. I've seen it a million times.
Yeah, but these are usually good in Power Rangers.
Yeah, fair.
They they
It worked.
overdo it, but the thing is, Every time they do it, it's a nod to the Rocky episode of the pinball game.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, like, none of them can compare with Rocky when they do it, but that's because Rocky was kind of one of the OG characters.
Yeah.
Like, he's as OG as you can pretty much get. Then you get, of course, Zeltrax, who's developing a bit of a rivalry with Tommy because Tommy keeps kicking his rear. Zeltrax, well, he's out of his league. The next episode, Golden Boy, sees... Well, this one has a multitude of plots. You have Anton Mercer's son, Trent, who's a waiter, but he's feeling a little overworked as it's... Well, for a few days in a row, the cyber cafe is overrun by teenagers. Poor guy. Nobody likes dealing with teens. But the thing is, Trent, his dad ends up deciding that since his son's a little overworked, why not simply buy it out from underneath Haley and just leave Trent in charge and whatnot. And it's like, okay, I know you're trying to give him a gift, but you're going about it the wrong way. On the other hand, Zeltrax, feeling the burden of his rivalry with Tommy and how he keeps getting, how do I put it, basically swirlied publicly, ends up deciding, I need a power-up. But what happens is that instead he gets a weird younger clone of himself with different colors who calls him father. No, he's not from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But Zeltrax's son, and I use air quotes here, kind of seems interesting because he's very pious filially. Filial piety is not something he lacks. He loves Zeltrax. And interestingly, they start to give Zeltrax a bit more complexity here, as he seems to quickly start to develop a fondness for his son. And sure, he's willing to risk his life by trying to power him up. Now, in any other season, they would have then had especially Lightspeed Rescue, and this is something actually I have criticism towards Lightspeed Rescue for. A lot of other seasons would have then had either one episode or a multi-episode thing where the two feud with each other about, just Zeltrax starts feeling insecure and replaced, the younger one wants to take over. You've seen that plot in, let's see, Lost Galaxies, Lightspeed Rescue, too many seasons to count. In Space, too many seasons to count. But here, playing on Zeltrax kind of being an anti-Tommy in a way. Now, he's not as skilled as Tommy, but like Tommy, there is a sense of filial piety towards one's kids. Now, Tommy is the very definition of filial piety to his adoptive parents, to his biological family, to Zordon, to his fellow Rangers. There is an element of filial piety there, and to those younger than himself. Tommy does take his job as a mentor very seriously, since the days of Justin. Zeltrax seems to take his duties as a father, although sure he risks the guy's life once. After that, he seems very devoted, like he's kind of trying to atone. But the thing is, the experiment does work. And this is the first time we start to see a bit of a better side to Zeltrax. But on the other hand, Zeltrax vows vengeance when his son dies, because he does say, this was the only person I ever loved. This is the only person I've ever cared for, and who actually just wanted to please me. I've never had anyone act like this for me. So it's a very interesting bond, almost tragic. And I'm going to argue in some ways, although it's a very short period, in some ways it's deeper than most of the villain bonds of parent and child that we see throughout the rest of the franchise. Naturally, you have Drakina, people will mention as a filial pious daughter. But on the other hand, she fails in terms of filial piety towards her mentor. Zeltrax and his son don't have almost any kind of moment like that. So I really do like that. On the other hand, Tommy, when the kid is made big, takes down Zeltrax in the fight. Zeltrax survives, of course, barely, and then Tommy blasts the sun, and it's like, what is the point of these Zords, and what is the point of the other three teammates? Cannon fodder, I guess.
Cannon fodder and diversions.
Yeah, fair. Man, like this episode, Tommy's kind of OP.
Yeah, point. And you know what? It gives Zeltrax a motive to go up against Tommy, and why he wants to continue to fight.
Yeah, because other than getting his lunch handed to him and getting swirly publicly. But this actually changes the game a little. I actually think they should have maybe kept the sun for at least another episode or two.
I agree.
There was potential there. Although, I'm just going to play devil's advocate. I can understand if they don't want to repeat the same mistakes as Lightspeed Rescue.
Oh, good lord.
The Lightspeed Rescue villains were just eating up all the time in the series. Until the heroes just had no arcs towards the middle and end of the series.
They were trying to emulate Trakina a bit too much.
Yeah.
Trakina was good.
But at the same time, the heroes still had... Well, they still had screen time.
Exactly.
You can't say that... Well...
Like
Carter... doesn't even really appear eventually. I guess you could say he cameos towards the middle and end of the series. Same with the Titanium Ranger, which is a shame because he was a good character. Actually, you can safely say most of the Power Rangers are just having cameos while the villains are eating up all the time. Yes, we do plan to review Lightspeed Rescue. It's a great season, but there are flaws. And it's actually one of the seasons with the most solid set of characters. The Yellow Ranger is solid. The Green Ranger, oh my gosh, I really like him. Sky Cowboy. Merryweather is awesome. The Captain is awesome. Carter's awesome. Donna is awesome. Titanium Ranger is awesome. Viper is a great character and very fine. And you have, of course, the villainess who probably could have been... Well, we'll get into that later on. But the thing is, this episode got into some of the best parts, had some of the best ideas from Lightspeed Rescue and Lost Galaxies, but it did it in a compressed manner and yet still a very tasteful manner.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this episode's a solid 3.5 out of 4.
3 and 3.3.
You really like this episode?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So you see, this is a great episode. So don't forget to smash that like, that subscribe button, and if you enjoy what we do, you could also check out our Substack and our book, Crown of Blood, which is a fantasy anthology novel of sorts. Hopefully you'll like it, because there's a lot about filial piety in there, and a lack of it. There's lots of it, but also a lack. Characters going to be characters. So, yeah, we hope you stay tuned for the next video, which will be out in hopefully at most a week's time. And I know I've said that before, but this time I do mean it. We're going to be refurbishing old streams, and we're also going to be actually concluding Lost Galaxies and Dino Thunder, because I actually do want to sit through the entire series and just start uploading content, especially before we start the new jobs. So stay tuned for that. And remember, Rangers, may the power protect you.